Okay, I have more straight away. Let me make sure I'm recording. Yes, okay. So, what I forget to mention, I've said this before, that because it's so clear in my head, my whole theory, I forget what's obvious to me and what's obvious to you guys, right? Especially any new players at home who haven't been following my story since New Year's Eve, I'd say, or it was December. You'll notice if you ever want to fucking go on my journey and you scroll all the way to the bottom of my feed of my page with my videos, there's a couple there where I was gaining confidence being on TikTok. But then when you start seeing, if you watch them all from pretty much the first one where it's me talking and it's not just something else that doesn't have me on the screen, start there and fucking go for a wander up my page. It'll take ages. And a lot of them you can probably skip through because they might double up. That's why I always say for the new players at home. So if you don't want to be a new player at home, fucking scroll down the bottom of my page and enjoy an afternoon watching Shan get crazier, and then crazy Shan, which wasn't crazy, that was just my authentic self, mind you. Anyway, then you're going to see me sedated Shan. But that wasn't why I was posting this video. Okay, let me just regroup. I remember. Okay, so because at a core level we are the DNA, not the cells, right? That's why we return. That's why we have a spirit. Anyway, I'm not going to side quest myself. Because reality is just a representation of something. Okay, so it doesn't have to make sense. The less you try and make sense of it, the more you'll just see what I'm talking about. I promise you, it's your brain trying to put the knowledge that you have together that blocks you from being able to understand what I'm saying. So, like, it's not meant to make sense. Trust me. All right. Your mind knows what to do with that nonsense. Okay. So, mind, body, and brain. It's your body that talks to you. The gnosis that, like, when you just you've had a thought but you didn't have it, that very very initial flash of whatever information your brain is receiving, that's your mind. But then as soon as your mind speaks, or it doesn't speak, it's just a knowing, as soon as your mind knows, your brain starts pulling in all the information from your body, and that's all those other thoughts afterwards. All right, so man, I've side quested myself again. Okay, representation. So when I say Antarctica is the womb and we're in the womb, no, that's not a good one. All right, what layer? All right, so it's because I was talking to someone about layers of the timeline layers, right? So Earth being a human being is the truth. That's like in my theory, that's the core, right? And then there's 7 layers of illusion on top of that, right? And that's because, okay, with my calculations, Earth was 37 weeks in 1946, all right? Which, for people that don't understand pregnancy, once you get to 37 weeks, even though it's a 40-week pregnancy, you're considered term. So all the baby's development is done, and now it's just growth, rapid growth for the last 3 weeks, depending if you get to 40 weeks, all right? And if you notice, I don't know if it's exactly 1946, someone check that if they want, but the first generation, like, was the baby boomers. It wasn't anything earlier. Like, generations didn't start until baby boomers, right? And that's because we'd already done all of our development and it's just rapid growth. That's when history started repeating. So the baby boomers, and then they got traumatized by everything that had happened up until 1945, and then from then on they're stuck in this rapid fucking cycle of everything that had happened up until 1946. And so each time it loops again, a new generation comes. And not only is it basing its reality on everything that happened from 1945, from start of time to 1945, is because, oh, sorry, they are using that information to make sense of their reality. But on top of that, they've got everything that happened from 1946 till now, but they also have the baby boomers' perception of everything that had happened from the start of time. So do you see how that was the first illusion? So instead of the baby boomers, no, that's where, so the next one on, whoever was next after baby boomers, instead of looking at mythology and history right up until now and then making sense of their world, they've got everything the baby boomers are telling them that happened. So the way that they saw it, which is different. And so can you see how by the time we're like 7 generations in, 7 timelines, like the people, whatever generation we're up to now, has to be able to make sense of their reality, they have to take everything that has happened up until 1945, right? Plus everything that has happened from 1945 to now, plus they have to include how all the people older than them in the world, how they perceived it as well. Like, can you see why we're messed up? All right, that actually, I don't know if that's what the layers. Okay, I'll try and stop after this. So with those layers, each generation was a new timeline, right? And so every one of those timelines is perceiving everything that happened up, anyway, what I just said, all right? So they are perceiving that, and depending how much information they took from older generations, depending on their age, depending on lots of different things, is going to depend on which of those timelines they're stuck in. So maybe they took on board everything that their parents told them, which moved them up into their parents' generation timeline, because that's how they're viewing the world, right? So everyone, even though we're all living together in this one timeline, the way we perceive the world is based on 7 different possibilities of the same thing. All right. And so when I talk about the magnetic boot, the magnetic field manipulation, because with all, 5G, everything, all that can, and that's the other thing. Conspiracy theories are going to just be like they're in a description of one of those 7 false timelines. Okay. So you need to understand that, some bit funny, you need to understand that they're all correct. Like, and that's why we can't agree. Anyway, shut up, Shannon. Shut up, Shannon. All right. So the magnetic manipulation, right? That's one timeline. Then on another timeline, a higher timeline, is the body control that I've been talking about. The fact, and actually, that's one of the highest ones. I don't know. Anyway, not important. The point is, some people in this world are walking around knowing that we're under magnetic control, right? But they're just perceiving the fact we're stuck inside Antarctica. All right. And I'll come back to that. As I said, don't try and make sense of it. Right. And then, so they're, oh, I didn't explain. All right. So the magnetic control, that's one. Then there's going to be people walking around knowing that it's body control, and that the voices we hear in our head comes from our body, and that, like, they're perceiving the Antarctica walls that way. Oh, I'm about to run out of time. No, I'll get more. Sorry, I didn't mean to make it so long. All right. So at this point, I should have said at the start, but you can speed me up too, so that'll make it quicker. All right. So while those people are walking around knowing we're under magnetic control, and these people are walking around knowing we're under body control, the thing is, they're both describing the fact that we are stuck inside Antarctica's walls. All right. So when those walls drop, it it's going to fold over those two timelines, because the body control is just a perception of the fact we're stuck in Antarctica. The magnetic control is just a perception of the fact that we're stuck in Antarctica. So the core issue is we are inside Antarctica, and each time, like, do I go there? Is my microphone even still on? Yes, it is. That was important too. Give me a second. I remember. So when those walls drop, right? The people there's control. There's a control system in every one of the 7 timelines. Okay, so the top one is, I don't know which one's the top one. It's irrelevant. They're all going to fall at the same time. So when the ice walls melt and the top, all the control systems, or however they've been controlling us, suddenly is ineffective. Oh, I lost my train of thought there. Oh, that's my point. My point is the control systems they've got in place, they don't realize that there was another layer. They made their way up the timelines, being able to manipulate and control the timelines without realizing excuse me, without realizing that at the end of the day, once we're born, there is no control system. So once we're born and the umbilical cord gets cut and we are freed from our mother's central nervous system, which is where the generational trauma is coming from, we will still have generational trauma in us that we need to heal as a collective. And for the first little while, like, it's not going to be an instant cull of all the control systems, because the control systems are coming through the umbilical cord. When they cut the cord, so if you don't know, when you have a baby, they cut the cord and there's a little stub, right? Which gets, like, they clamp it, and then after a little while that shrivels up and dies and drops off, and there's your belly button. Okay, so until that stub has completely shriveled up and dropped off, we're still gonna have layers of illusion. It's not nothing new. It's just that remaining, fucking disgusting, rotting piece of flesh that's hanging off your belly button. All right. Fuck, I hope that made sense. All right. I might see you soon. Maybe not. I should go meditate. I'm a bit hyped up now. Okay, goodbye.